This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points, presented by Community Coffee, official coffee of the Houston Texans. Also sponsored by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans. And by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Amegy, the official business bank of the Houston Texans.
Let's go, Squirrel. What we got? Need some juice, need some energy, and just do your job. Punch the ball.
Here comes pressure. He's going to go down. Touchdown, Houston. Rock and roll.
Well, hello there, and welcome into Texans Extra Points. My name's Drew Dougherty. We've got quite a show for you tonight because, well, the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer, is here, as well as team analyst and sideline reporter John Harris. There's a whole lot to get into, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
There's something very, very peculiar about Damieon Pierce that we've got to discuss. Plus, the defense has given some signs of hope. And we've got Texans of the game against the Eagles from Thursday night. Believe it or not, there were a few. And what do the Texans do in the week ahead? We got some keys. But let's start things off with Pierce. What a night for the rookie. Now, the Texans lose, but there are many, many things that you can take positively from that contest. What stood out to you the most about what the Texans were able to do with Pierce to spring him free after what we saw against the Titans?
Well, they were just paving people out of the way, letting Pierce find holes. And, you know, he's so good. Sometimes he can pitter-patter, but in a good way, find the hole. Other times he hits it hard, takes people with him, snow plows his way across whatever you need him to get across, right? Whether it's a first down or a big gain like the 34-yarder he had against the Eagles. Man, it was run after run with him, a career best night. What can you say? What more can you say about how well this rookie's doing for this offense?
I like what he just said there about pitter-patter. We've got to make a marketing slogan of some sort, like pitter-patter to pound town or so. I don't know. He has just done so many different things so well, like he mentioned, but what did you see that they did?
He has great vision. I don't think there's any question in that. But I want to give some credit to the offensive line here because before this game, the Texans were second in the league in yards after contact. And that's pretty much Damieon Pierce. Yeah. But they were 31st or 32nd in the league in yards before contact, which is showing you offensive line is doing some things, but Pierce is handling a lot of that business. On that long run, great play call by Pep Hamilton, a GT counter, perfectly called out of shotgun. The right side is completely caved in. Kenyon kicks out the defensive end, and Laramie turns up, and there's nobody to block him, and nobody touches Pierce until he gets 15, 20 yards downfield. That's the kind of run you want to see, where he gets 35, 36 yards, half of it he gets before he's even touched. Then the fun begins because he's breaking tackles, he's stiff-arming guys, he's getting guys out of the way. I really felt like the physicality was showing up on the offensive line, which I wasn't totally sure we'd see that against the Eagles. That's a pretty solid front. And in that third quarter in particular, they really dominated. And before kicking a field goal to make it 21-17, I thought that was the moment. And so did Lovie Smith. That's what he told me after the game. That was the moment. They just settled for a field goal there. That was tough.
How do you jumble that up and bottle it up and make it happen next time?
Well, I think you keep doing it, but they know you're going to do it. The Giants, next up on the schedule, they know you're going to do it. That's where the other stuff comes in because they were able to hit some pass plays, particularly in the first half, that were very effective. Scored on the first drive for the first time. They had that other drive down 14-7 where they go ahead and tie the game. You know, that might not have happened against Tennessee or some of the other opponents this year, so that was a positive. I think it's the mix you're looking for, but Pierce is the biggest part of the batter, okay? He's the pancake batter, maybe throwing some blueberries and some other stuff, but he's the bulk of it.
Pitter-patter and the pancake batter.
He's making me hungry. I mean, I'm starving here, and he's making me hungry over here. Here's the thing to me. Let the Giants know that you do it. You've reached a point where, as an offense, they know you're going to do it. Yeah. Stop it. Force the Giants to have to stop it. Now, they've got some dudes up front, there's no doubt, but force them to have to stop it. Don't talk yourself out of it. This is what we do well. We're going to do it. You stop it. And when you get to that point as an offense, then you know you've reached pretty good heights.
You know, it's been fun in the weeks leading up to these games over the last month, seeing in the enemy intel article that goes up on HoustonTexans.com what the defensive coordinators from other teams are saying about Pierce. I mean, this week, Jonathan Gannon, the DC for the Eagles, said, coming into the game, I never say this, but I did say it this week. Look out for this guy. He's tough. He can do it all. Basically, he's rehashed what we've said about him. So it's been fun seeing that, and that's not just unique to Gannon. Okay, on the flip side of things, Davis Mills did some very, very nice things in the first half. He was nearly flawless, 8 and 9. His quarterback rating was sky high in the hundreds, but it came crashing down in the second. How do we get more of first half Davis Mills rather than second half Davis Mills?
Can't do it all. Sometimes taking a sack is not a bad thing. You can't always create a play. Sometimes you got to live to see another down, and you got to know the fine line of when to do that and when to push it. First half, he scrambles out. He finds Chris Moore. Beautifully done. The interception, the first one, comes when he's stuck in this gaggle of Eagles bodies and linemen, and he's trying to throw an awkward throw. You got to know the play's over. Live to see the next down, because they take that, they get down into the red zone or near the red zone, they score a short bit later, and now it's 21-14 when you had the momentum on your side. So you got to know this is not that time. Take the sack, throw it away, move on.
Yeah, judgment and play calling there in the first half nearly perfect in that regard.
It was so good to watch, and on a night where you didn't have Nico Collins, you didn't have Brandon Cooks, they rallied together. I really sensed that they were playing together. They were banding together because they knew they were playing the league's only undefeated team, and they scored 14 points, tied the game, and it was that way going into the third quarter. Mills hitting some easy pass plays and some hard ones too. Deep pass to Dorsett. Look, that throw right side of the end zone to Chris Moore, really difficult throw. Tegan Cotoriano trusted the big tight end to make a play in the end zone, and that's good stuff. You want to see more of that.
No doubt. Okay, we got to get into the defense and what we think might be going better in that regard, but we got to go to a telestrator with this guy, John Harris, breaking down something that happened on Thursday night.
Nothing like your first time, huh? Tegan Cotoriano scored on one of his first few plays in the NFL. Let's take a look at how it happened. Texans come out here in 23 personnel, 2 backs and 3 tight ends, and Charlie Heck is one. He's key on this because the Texans are going to run a mesh route. They're going to take Charlie here. Yes, Charlie Heck running a route. Brevin there, and then Tegan is going to leak. The route is called leak, and he's going to leak out there. And Wallace does a great job here. But Tegan goes up and makes one heck of a play. They don't get the picks that they want through the mesh, and Wallace sees it. So he sees Cotoriano easily. And then that throw from Davis is great, but Tegan goes up and gets it. The end zone view shows you a better shot here. You can see how this is designed to pick somebody off. Watch Charlie here. He's going to come across. There's Brevin. And then Wallace picks up Tegan and is just mauling him. But it doesn't matter because 84 goes up and makes one heck of a catch for his first touchdown and what hopefully is a long career for the Texans.
Mills fakes the handoff, throws it left side of the end zone. Caught by Cotoriano. Touchdown, Houston. The rookie tight end cashes in.
14-7 Eagles near the end of the first half. Texans needed to get some points on the board. And they went to a play here that I love the concept, but it breaks down a little bit. And then Davis Mills and Chris Moore end up making a play. Let's take a look at what happens here. They're going to start off in a balanced set, 2x2, with 2 tight ends. So they're 12 personnel. And Brevin's going to come across in motion. And it looks like the Eagles are playing quarters. So essentially they're going to have a bunch over here. And so the Eagles are going to box the quarters. So they're going to make sure somebody's got first out, last out, first in, first out. So they're going to have all that covered here. But Chris is going to push up here, and OJ is going to start like this. And they're going to try and force the DB to decide here or there. And at that point, it looks like OJ is going to be open. So let's take a look here, and you can see how the route develops. And it looks like right there, OJ might be available, but Davis is already having to get out of there. So Chris does a great job. He sees all this space. Because he was crossing, he sees a ton of space, just run. Because now it's man. As they're going to just match up with you now, he just runs. And he beats Epps, gets a little tiny push off, and then Davis gets out of the pocket here, throws a dart. Bang. Chris Moore for the touchdown. Held on just long enough, and man, what a play that was to get the crowd hyped and tie it at 14.
Jordan in motion to the left. Mills gets the snap. Mills looking. Mills scrambles out to the right side. Davis throws right side of the end zone. Caught by Chris Moore. Touchdown, Houston! Jordan in motion to the left. Mills gets the snap. Mills looking. Mills scrambles out to the right side. Davis throws right side of the end zone. Caught by Chris Moore. Touchdown, Houston!
Who knew he had wheels and could deal? Listen to that. I'm rhyming. Davis Mills, one of the third fastest times on the season while throwing a pass. It's pretty interesting. Next Gen Stats presented by AWS. And the defense gave up some big plays, weren't able to hold their water, so to speak, but there are some very encouraging things we saw.
Oh,
Christian Harris?
Christian Harris made some plays. Look, the young guys made plays. What was it, 10 rookies see in action?
All
10 rookies.
Kurt Heinisch gets a sack. I mean, wasn't even drafted.
That was good.
Petrie all over the place.
But look, as things played out, you look at the numbers, kind of like the Tennessee game in some ways, when you look at the numbers and then it's 17 points. Can you score more than 17 at home? In the game against the Eagles, there you are in the second half. They get the ball to open the third quarter. What do you get? Sacked by Jerry Hughes. Good play, sacked by Jerry Hughes. They punt, but you can't move the football, right? And you're holding your own with them a little bit. Force another 3 and out in the third quarter. But then the first interception, you give them the ball at the 17-yard line. What are you going to do? Got to continue to play the way they were playing in the third quarter. But I always go back to this. The offense has to fill their side of the cup as well. Glass half full, glass half empty, their end of the scale, whatever the case may be, they got to hold up their end of the bargain and not turn the ball over.
No doubt. And I brought up Christian Harris. This was his second game. It was a big deal when he came back. He was not happy with how he played in the first one. Lovie Smith said, give him the benefit of the doubt, he's going to have better games. He had one. You see progression there week over week?
Absolutely. He's played 3 games in 11 days. Played a lot against Las Vegas, played a lot against Tennessee. But what I saw from him on Thursday night was more alpha behavior, like just taking the defense. I'm going to make this play. I'm not going to wait for somebody to make it. I'm going to go make this play, making a couple of plays in the backfield. Love seeing that from Christian Harris. And obviously, with 6 rookies over there on defense, you're going to have breakdowns at certain points. You're going to have things go wrong. But I also love the mix of play calling, too. Lovie Smith with the corner blitz, bringing Steven Nelson off the tight end side, and they didn't account for it, didn't see it. Jalen Hurts was hit. He was like, what happened? Where'd that come from? Perfectly timed stuff. They got the takeaway that they wanted. But to me, the spot where you had to take advantage were the 2 3 and outs. If you get the 2 3 and outs and you do something, now maybe you flip the complete momentum in the second half back your way. And the defense did its part. The offense did turn the ball over, did not do its part at that point.
All right, aside from Christian Harris, which rookie has got you really geeked up about the way they're playing, not just Thursday night, but over the last month or so?
Oh, Jalen Petrie, obviously. I mean, Jalen Petrie is going to be a leader on this team for a long time. Safety positions, very important. Got to continue to shore that up. But you have a guy who can start for you for a number of years. And I think Kurt Heinisch, even though he wasn't a draft choice, undrafted rookie, is making a difference on the D-line. Again, part of a mix. If you're playing this Lovie Smith 4-3, you have a big rotation going on with those front guys. He's part of that rotation, and he's making a difference. So I like those 2 guys in particular. Stingley, great, but you know what? You haven't seen a ton of passes against this defense. I know the Eagles threw it some, but I think Stingley's certainly holding his own because you don't see him get burnt a lot.
Well, I think Mark just took all the rookies.
Yeah.
So
anybody else? Well, you got 10. How about Hansen?
Well, yeah, I mean, Jake got in there, and when Jake was in the game, he was wearing a green dot. He was the Mike linebacker. He was the one calling the plays. If anybody's going to know this defense, you know, Jake Hansen's going to know it for having played for Lafayette, Illinois. But just the progress that 10 rookies are making on both sides of the ball, it's really been nice to see.
Those are young guys. Let's talk about Old Man River, so to speak. Sorry, Jerry Hughes. But hey, Jerry had a great game, played really, really well, and we heard about it from a lot of his teammates, from Lovie Smith in the post.
That offensive line is arguably the best in the league.
Yeah.
And Jordan Mailata has been paid a lot of money to play left tackle. And Jerry Hughes ran by him a couple of times. And then he went to the other side, and he went against Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson, I don't think he's given up a sack this year. And he went back inside on Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson had to basically hold him, they didn't call it, basically tackled Jerry as Jerry's about to tackle Hurts. We ended up getting sack off of that. Jerry Hughes went to a different level from a pass rush standpoint. Now, what we need the defensive ends to do is be a little bit more violent in the run game, to take on those blocks out on the edge and dominate those blocks out of the edge. And once they get to that point, combined with what Jerry and Obo and Rasheem are doing in the pass rush, you're going to have something. But that's just got to all come together. It can't just be in spurts. It's got to be consistent across the board.
Run game's been the Achilles heel for the team this year.
But you outrushed the Eagles. If you told me before the game that Pierce is going to have a career night and you're going to outrush them as a team, I would say, oh my gosh, here it is. but you turned the ball over. Big problem. What are the Giants going to do? They're going to try to run the ball with Barkley. What's Washington going to do? It's coming. You got to get ready for it.
I'm glad you brought the Giants up because that's part of our Texans trivia question. The Texans taking on another NFC East opponent in the next game. When's the last time they beat the Giants? We'll have that answer later on in Texans Extra Points.
Mills fakes the handoff, throws it left side of the end zone. Caught by Quinturiano. Touchdown, Houston. The rookie tight end cashes in as the Texans drive down the field and score first.
We're back. Texans Extra Points rolls on, and it's me, Drew Dougherty, with John Harris and Marc Vandermeer. It's time to talk about players of the game from the loss to the Eagles. Texans played better, but ultimately came up short again. However, there were some stars, some shiny spots in this one. Who's yours?
Well, it would be Pierce, right? But we spent a ton of time on him. It's kind of like, who's the MVP? Let's pick second place here for me. The group of receivers, all right? Dorsett, Chris Moore. Jalen Camp made a play. That was nice to see. You had guys out there on a night with no Brandon Cooks and no Nico Collins, and they had to step up, and they did, and that was really cool to see. Chris Moore with his second touchdown pass in the last 3 games. Dorsett with another deep ball to set you up first and goal on the opening drive. I liked seeing that. Let's see more of it.
Okay.
I saw a different Laramie Tunsil tonight.
Oh,
And he's been very, very good.
well, you also saw something else different about Laramie Tunsil.
So the C on his
Captain.
chest.
Captain, yeah.
I saw him in the locker room, and I said, I think that C looks good on you. He kind of looked and said, thank you, bro. It does. I mean, I felt like he played at a level that even beyond what he's been this year, and he's been at a Pro Bowl, All-Pro level this year. But I thought he played even better than that tonight. I mean, I thought he was great on the edge. In the run game, I thought he was extremely physical. I loved seeing what Laramie did. So, yes, Pierce is a layup, and the receivers were fantastic. But, man, I got to go with Laramie Tunsil. I thought he was tremendous.
You know, it's funny we bring up Tunsil because I asked Damieon Pierce, I said, hey, tell me about that 36-yard run. And he lit up, and the first thing he said was, well, anytime you've got Laramie Tunsil running out in front of you, you're going to do some damage. And he said, nobody even touched me for the first 6-7 yards, so he liked what he saw, having number 78 rumbling in front of him. That's a nice guy to lead block for.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And Laramie had nobody to block because everybody else had done a great job blocking, and Kenya had a great kick-out block. So that was the one time Laramie, got a free pass, but it was like he pulled over. They were supposed to hit somebody. There was nobody there, which shows you what that offensive line was able to do. And it was a good offensive flow, but that third quarter, that's when Laramie and the group really took over that game. And I felt like they knew that they were about to win that football game because of the way they were taking over.
And it changed things. You get down 2 scores. Now you can't line up in the eye, offset eye, and run the football the way you were. Now you got to hurry, change things.
So we're all in agreement. Damieon Pierce is the Texan of the game, but we have our secondary choices. So my secondary choice, I'm going to go with Jerry Hughes. 2 sacks, that's probably going to get you in the conversation. Jerry Hughes looked really, really good. That is my Texan of the game against the Eagles. Okay, guys, we got to get keys to the week ahead. But before we do, we got to take a quick break here on Texans Extra Points.
Texans Extra Points, presented by Community Coffee, official coffee of the Houston Texans. Also sponsored by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans. And by Mattress Firm, the official sleep partner of the Houston Texans.
This Texans trivia question and answer provided by the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. He came up with this one all on his own, but the question was, when was the last time the Houston Texans defeated the New York Giants? Think about it. You only play them every 4 years. You haven't played them in New York since 2014. That was a loss that saw the Texans complete maybe the greatest pass and catch of all time. That was wiped out by a penalty. It was DeAndre Hopkins pinching a 50-yard completion from Ryan Fitzpatrick. But what was it? What was the last time the Texans won?
It was in 2002. They beat the New York Giants here at NRG Stadium. Kerry Collins started. That Texans defense played really well that game. and the Giants made the playoffs that year. That was one of 2 playoff teams the Texans beat in the inaugural season. Pittsburgh was the other one.
And this will be the first time that the Texans play the Giants without Eli Manning since 2002.
How about that? That's
Wow.
a good one, yeah. Because 06 would have been the first. Yep. I'm doing mental math here, and it's taking a little bit of time. Okay, what must the Texans do over the course of the next week plus? They've got a weekend. They're in the midst of a weekend off after playing that Thursday nighter. But what do you see them needing to do?
All right, they had an early bye, all right? Now you get a mini bye. And I think this weekend is good to recharge, regen, do everything they need to do to and get ready for the rest of the schedule. I think, look, there are no moral victories in the NFL. But the way you played on Thursday, you can take a lot of that with you into the remainder of the schedule, all right? You just played an undefeated team. You went toe-to-toe with them. Now, use that oomph that you had in that Thursday night affair in New York against the Giants, when you come home against Washington, the rest of it, Miami as well. I think it's all about recharging the batteries and getting ready for the rest of it.
Good stuff. How about you?
Yeah, I think Mark is dead on it. Go back and review the film. But as you go into Giants week, you're starting to establish your identity offensively. You've done it throughout the year, but I think you've really got to it, especially in that third quarter. This is who you can be. This is what Pierce can be. Let's emphasize that going forward, and then let the passing game fill in the gaps as you go through. Hopefully you get Nico Collins back pretty soon. But that 5 up front, when it's together, like it was in the third quarter, that was nice to see.
All right, so recharge, strengthen the strengths. I'm going to go with, well, self-scout. Get some self-scouting in like you kind of did during the bye week. It's going to be truncated because you don't have as much time off, but let's self-scout. Guys, it's always fun being with you. I really do appreciate the time, Marc Vandermeer and John Harris. It's good to be with you as always, and it's great to be with you too. Check us out next week, same time, same place, and we will see you again here on Texans Extra Points. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.